Hey everybody, my name is Nick. I'm a director and editor living in Taiwan, and I've got, back by popular demand,
It's your boy, Dirty Black Ghost.
And he's an illustrator,
Painter, illustrator, sometimes shitty YouTuber, Instagram once a year poster, a bunch of bullshit, but mainly painter. So
yeah. If you want a good channel, you can check out for reviews.
Yeah.
It's I highly recommend that channel. In my opinion, it's a very underrated thing. You don't get that many views. When you go, you'll see how many views he gets, but it's very artistic.
Same for my amazing 11 subscribers. That's another great thing. Please, guys, let's by the end of this video try to get that up to 12.
12 subscribers.
Please, anybody.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about old Kung Fu again. You recommended a great movie, Shaolin versus Wu Tang.
Yes.
And so this movie is about two rival schools that are supposedly like the best Kung Fu schools. And they're kind of like buddies, friends, but they have like a healthy rivalry. They got the Wu Tang, which is like the master of the sword, and Shaolin, which is the master of the fist. There's the Qing government wants to learn the secrets of both the schools and also get them like fighting against each other so that they can be destroyed. He kind of sets it up so that both the Wu Tang and the Shaolin think that the other one is messing with them, and they train for this fight against each other. And they have this final showdown fight where the Wu Tang and the Shaolin have to like face off at this competition. Why did you pick this one to review?
So when I watched this one, I was absolutely blown away and surprised that almost every single sample from the first Wu-Tang album was in this. And I could, like, when I heard them, it was like just so clearly, and I was like, wow.
A game of chess is like a sword fight.
Once I started the movie, I was like, oh shit, this is like straight from Wu-Tang. So I watched the movie, of course, and I loved it. So I had to go back and call you back and be like, yo, let's switch to this movie.
As you're going along, you're like, oh shit, there's that. It's stuff you kind of don't even remember, and like stuff I didn't even remember, like
even things like the sword clashing and stuff. I can sort of hear that in the back, and I'm like, that sounds so familiar.
And they kind of mix up parts too. Like you'll hear how like, oh, the quote in the album is like the first part is here, and then the second part is like later on. It's pretty cool.
It's dope. So that kind of kept me going at the beginning, and then I was like, oh shit. Like, and of course, the Kung Fu. Once you see, I think in the last review that we did, I was trying to give you an idea of what I think is high level Kung Fu and low level Kung Fu. And you should know it by the sound effects and the choreography within, I would say, the first 10 seconds. And if you see a fight and then within the first 10 seconds, if you see some trash going down, you can pretty much guarantee it's not a high level Kung Fu movie, which this one is.
Okay, so that's a good segue. What are your criteria for like a good Kung Fu movie? Like, what are you looking for in a Kung Fu movie?
First and foremost, personally, I'm looking for great choreography. So I want to see, did they use a few absurd techniques to make it look sort of fantasy-like? Almost like, what's that really famous one? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where they were flying over the bushes. You kind of want an element of that for me. Also, the sound effects. I want hard-hitting, bass-filled punches.
Yep, sound effects are huge.
Folding of clothes. I want all of that. That kind of hypes it up. So if the sound effects are crap,
sound effects are crap, big.
Then I'm sort of like, I'm not big on this because the stories are never that great.
That's true. What I had written down was I like the fight. I want a good fight sequence, good choreography. You gotta have that as like the base level. Then the other thing that I look for is you gotta have the training.
Yes.
The training, like if there's no training montage in your Kung Fu movie, like I don't know if I really care. The other thing would be the editing actually is super important. It has to be fast paced enough, but it also has to be, you can see everything clearly.
Yes. Oh yes.
So I think a lot of you can tell when they're editing to like mask the fact that the people suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than editing to augment like how good the people are. And I think this movie it does that, where you know that the people doing the choreography are good, so the editing is actually like showing off their skills rather than like trying to like cover it up.
This movie does a great job, or good kung fu movies as well. Yeah, they zoom out. They sort of show like,
Yes.
and you can
There's
tell.
more.
You can also tell too because of how long the scene goes, how well the choreography was like sort of like implemented. So you can see they zoom out and you see the guy fight like 5 guys, and you can tell like he fights this guy 3 punches, turns, hits this guy, goes back to this guy, does this guy, and then the camera cuts.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, that's amazing. A really clear like scene or like, you know, sequence of them fighting instead of like 1 punch, cut, 1 kick, cut, and like the angles changing. You're sort of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you don't get that. Like a good kung fu movie, they give you a zoomed out version or at least a clear shot of them doing a choreographed sequence that you can say, holy shit, like look at the skills in this sequence, and then they'll cut to something else and you'll be like, that was satisfying enough.
Based on this criteria, how well does this movie hit that, do you think?
I would say this is like a 7 out of 10.
That is exactly my rating. That's exactly my rating. But like, it's not the top.
No,
but it is
not
good. It's like competent in those areas. I thought the fight sequences could be a little better, and I have a theory for why not. Because the main actor is Gordon Liu, and he was also the director. And I kind of think that he maybe had too many jobs, and so he didn't. Because I felt like I've seen him do like wilder stuff. Like he's in 36 Chambers of Shaolin. He's in Return to 36 Chambers, and he's like way more physical in those because he didn't direct them, I think. And I think in this one he's probably focused on everybody else, and so his kind of stuff seems a little bit simpler.
Possibly. I mean, yeah, I did think it took a little while for the action to start in this. I remember watching for a while and I was like, why am I not seeing any all-out action? I mean, when it came, it was great, but before it came, I was like, this is kind of pretty deep into the movie without seeing him go off and just whoop ass. Like, he's kind of just a bit reserved. Like, you would get like a little taste. You remember like at the beginning when him and the other dude are like, my fighting's better than yours. Mine's fighting better than yours. And he's like, okay, let's go to the brothel tonight. And then he goes and shows off his skills, and you're like, oh, okay, there we get a taste.
Yeah, it's a little bit, right?
Yeah, and then the other guy shows off his skills, and they get a little bit there, but you're like, it's not like a full-on montage of his just whooping ass. Like, I need this. So
yeah,
maybe that might have been the reason. He might have been like, I'll just save it for big scenes.
And so like then the training stuff too in this, it felt like a little bit sped up. Like the training stuff happened kind of towards the end, and it felt like they kind of compressed it down a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't like a full like 36 chambers. That was
I mean that's basically like almost the whole movie, which is why that movie's the best.
yeah. But this one was like, he'll learn this. Okay,
the thing that I thought was cool though is like if you've seen 36 Chambers, I think they definitely put like a lot of things that were the same, like the headbutt stuff. So like I think it's cool that they set up this world where like 36 Chambers and this are in the same universe. And that guy that he fights with the swords, like that's a guy, like a guy that he trains against in 36 Chambers. Like he has that sword with that little like hook on it that like can flip stuff. And so so it's kind of cool. Like there's like, oh, this is like, you know, like the Marvel universe, or like it's the Shaolin universe.
Right? Everyone's all in the same.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I didn't even realize that. I'll have to check that next time.
There was one thing that super impressed me was the way, it's just like a tiny little thing, but like somebody will like, they shoot arrows, right? And then it cuts to the next shot and the arrow's inside them. And it's just like simple technique, right? Like doing the simple technique exactly perfectly and getting the timing right works so well. Like obviously I know how they do that, right? I know that they just have the guy standing with the arrow and he goes, but when they do it right, it tricks your eye so perfectly that you just like, when you're watching it, you just take for granted, he got hit by an arrow. Do you know what I mean?
I have a small thing about this, which is amazing, because Kevin Smith, I used to watch Flash, the TV show, and Kevin Smith did a guest episode. He directed one, and he's like, I'm a big fan of Flash and whatever. So he was like, so in the show, the Flash, you know, obviously he's a really fast character in the DC universe, and whenever he leaves the screen, it's like it makes a big puff of like a big whooshing sound, and like, you know, obviously to show that he was in there, all these papers and everything fly up and they sort of have like this little blur. But he's like, so when I was doing it, he's like, oh, I can't wait to see how they do the Flash, like, you know, like how he speeds in and out of the room or whatever. And he's like, so basically they just go action and they throw a bunch of papers up in the air, and then he's like, we just add the sounds in post. And they're like, so basically he's just standing off screen and they go and he just walks in the screen and he goes like that. And
Yeah.
and he's like, it's so simple, but he's like it looked like he's going so fast. He's like, all you have to do is add a sound effect, throw some papers, or make them look like the wind blew them off, and it's like, what a great technique that you would never imagine.
100%. Like, and it's like these little techniques are worth, in my opinion, so much more. This is my classic thing that I like to do, than like trying to do like a CGI arrow. Like I see like bullets and gunfire that's all like done in post now, and it looks so bad.
Oh yeah.
But it's like if you just do the technique like properly and just put a little bit of like thought into it, then it like the simple kind of old school way that's supposed to be like shitty or low budget actually is the best way.
It always looks better, and it gets the point across.
So we talked a little bit about how the story doesn't matter, but the story structure I thought was definitely really weird. Like I didn't understand like why the Qing Dynasty guy is like trying to get them to like fight each other. He doesn't really ever. It's not really clear like what he wanted to me.
I felt that because if you remember back from the Wu Tang album, it's like the guy says the Shaolin and the Wu Tang could be dangerous.
Right.
So I think he's just thinking that they might have too much power and their styles are too strong. So I think he's
got to get rid of them.
Yeah, he's like, if I take both of their powers, then I can beat both of them and I can be the ultimate. And remember, he doesn't want them to teach each other.
Right, because if they mix, then their style will be too powerful.
Yeah. So he's just like, I'll take both styles and we'll wipe both of them out, and then I'll be the most powerful.
I kind of like it. It's in a way, it's kind of like how it's like, if you want to get deep on it, it's how the upper classes and the rich classes keep the low classes fighting amongst themselves.
Hey, this is it. Yeah, they're like, let them fight while we stay up on the top.
Because if you merge your power, the Wu Tang and the Shaolin.
There we go. Just like and also just like the Warriors. With Cyrus at the beginning,
yes,
it's like we've got all these gangs and they've only got one police force, and it's like nobody's killing nobody. That kind of shit. It's like say it's an age-old tale, Yeah,
they got to divide and conquer.
If the poor people or the lower people would just combine together, they would realize how much power they have.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty dope. I just thought that in general though, like the idea of like how he was trying to get them to fight with each other, I thought there could have been like a little better. Like he kills the master, and then they didn't seem that pissed. Like I felt like they should have been more pissed at each other.
You would never you would think he'd just be dead. Like you just execute him. You don't go and kill like a master of the temple and be like, we just killed like the Grand Master monk. Yeah, just go to jail.
Be like, we need somebody dope for the tournament. Get him out.
You've been doing good with your lessons. Come back and fight him. And it's kind of like, the storyline was definitely weak. Like they weren't really.
They didn't care.
Like and the funny thing too, like the jail scene, it was just sort of out of left field to me that all the girls in the jail were insane. I didn't know why. Like he just is in there and they're like, and they're like eating at the food, and I was like,
why'd they put him in the girl jail?
No idea.
Did they say that?
And why was his sister in there? Like I mean, in the end, you found out why she was in there, but it was almost like,
well, she was like a spy, right? And also, like, how did he know that their plan to get him out was going to be to teach her kung fu?
Yeah, exactly, right? You like go in there and get him to teach you, and like it's like so many things had to line up for that, because his boy had to come from the rival gang and had to say, I want to get you out. So I'm going to give you this special rice or whatever to try and hook you up so you can come back, or whatever he did. Remember, they had to do like the whole, was there some sort of ritual they had to do? Like he had to do something. Like he had to tell the crazy girl, make him eat this thing. And then she had to do the, like whatever.
Right, like, they had to do the suit.
But it's like, they had to bank on so much that his boy was going to come back, give him the technique to get out so that she could learn it. And it's like, that was weak as shit that she had to be there. And it's like, you guys lined up.
But and then they also didn't even really use it that much too, because she basically taught the guy the kung fu, right?
Yeah.
And then she kind of wasn't, then she ended up, I guess the point was like after she learned it, then she realized like, nah, this is cool. Like don't, because she kind of saves them at the end.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, no, kung fu should be mixed.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. Yeah, but I mean, like she was, like this movie, amazing ending. It just
talk a little bit about the ending.
The ending just like literally wraps up in like can you imagine watching Shawshank Redemption and then they're like, all right, like there's like fucking 30 seconds left, Andy, fucking just do the whole thing, and like he gets out of jail in 30 seconds, he gets away, and you're like, what the fuck? Like imagine you go from him just getting fucked in jail And then you've got 30 seconds left, and he just fucking
Tunnels
punches
out.
a fucking hole in the wall, fucking runs out, gets in the rain with like 10 seconds left.
And then freeze frame.
And the freeze frame of him in the rain, yeah! And it's like he got out, and you're like, there's a lot of shit missing here. Like, yeah, like they were fighting, and then the sister just like mid-fight, she's like, no, don't. And you're like, what was she talking about? And then they start using their techniques, and they start beating his ass, and then they don't even kill him.
Yeah.
They don't even kill him, and they just go,
respect kung fu or whatever.
yeah, and then he goes, you're a lord, and you're a lord too. And he goes, oh, and then like they just go, yeah, and the sister's with him, and you're like, you were just with your brother, like, yeah, it's worth watching the ending. Like even if you're gonna skip like the last minute of the movie, you might as well do that because you'll be like,
well, that, like if you watch like the last fight thing that they do with each other, and then it's pretty much.
Yeah, you could just watch that and know as much as you did from watching the whole movie anyway. I mean, it's not like they really have like some crazy plot going on. I mean, you just miss out on random shit that's happening. I mean, I think in general, like kung fu movies are better when they keep the plot like a lot simpler. Yes,
like they don't try to do complicated stuff. Just like make it simple. Like 36 Chambers of Shaolin, which is like one of my favorites. It's just like guy goes to train, he trains, he fucking gets better. Like that's it. Like and the interesting thing about like making the way they made movies at this time is like they were just like they just banged them out. It was just like a assembly line production.
I think it's cool because like I think it's just sort of
they knew what the formula was.
We know what's hot. We know what people want, and it might have been just like, look, I want to show up at the theater. I want action. I don't want to think too much. I don't want because I mean, like it's almost like music. You know what I mean? It's like just different types of music.
It's like a musical. It's
not a musical, but I mean just music in general, where you're sort of like, I don't want to always listen to like some super complicated rap or whatever. Sometimes I just want some shitty like fucking Baltimore music where they're just fucking repeating the same thing over and over, and I'm just like, yeah, that's good. It's
all about the beat, or it's all about the hook.
Sometimes you just need some random shit where you're just like, fuck it, let me just have some fun, and I don't think about it. And kung fu movies, I think, satisfies that.
100%.
Where you're like, I have an hour and a half to kill. I just want to eat some popcorn and fucking have a drink. And
kung fu movies are my comfort movie. Like if I ever break up with anybody, that's the movie I put. Yeah, because it's all about like training and like whatever. I just put on. Yeah. It's just like time to
I like that.
Go into the gym. But all right, so one last question I wanted to ask you: do you prefer dubbed kung fu movies or subtitled kung fu movies?
Dubbed. It's got to be dubbed because they are. I mean, without that, you don't get any Wu Tang samples.
Well, okay, so me personally, I like subtitled normally, but this particular movie you have to watch dubbed because you wouldn't hear the samples.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, you need. Well, I mean, like a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them, like the translations, sort of. Yeah, like you get the cheesy lines in it that you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need like, master, what are you doing? And like that kind of weird shit.
It does add like an artistic element to it.
Yeah, I mean, I can watch both. I think the Shaolin or the 36 Chambers had subtitles. And for some reason, I kind of enjoyed reading them and sort of like just thinking this works really well for the movie. And then the dub version, I think, like sometimes you just hear it and you're like, this fits really well with this. So I think I'm in favor of both. I'm going to go right down the line.
Okay, cool. All right, so my rating was, we already said, I said a 7.
Seven for me.
But I think it's a definite, if you like Kung Fu, I think this is a great one to watch. And obviously, if you're a Wu Tang fan, this is like a must watch.
This I would say it's a 7 classic. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's movies that are like Goonies. That's like a 7, but it's a classic. It's like
it's not the best movie, but it's not at all. But it's super enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In terms of something that you're gonna enjoy, you're gonna be like, this is really cool. Like, I gotta watch this. And I know it's not the highest level, but it's cool enough to watch. So.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom.
No, Nick. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to disagree right here. This is a fucking perfect 10 for me. That's a perfect 10.
Temple of Doom is a 10.
It's a 10. I think we've been through this.
We did.
In another universe, in a butternut universe, we've been through this, and that was a perfect 10 on my list. And I believe I was fighting against the Last Crusade. So.
Yeah, but I might. Okay.
It's okay.
I don't want to open this can of worms, but. Yeah, but like it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie that has some flaws.
You don't want to go against Stand By Me, which is a serious, amazing movie with a lot of great things, which I would consider a 10 or a 9.
Right.
Because, in terms of an 80s movie where you're like, this has everything. It's got the comedy, it's got the sadness, it's got all the great writing, the good story. And then, you got Goonies, which is just a bunch of fucking kids fucking around, and you're like...
Yeah, that movie, to be honest, I mean, I don't know, my opinion of that is maybe even lower than a 7. That movie is...
No.
I rewatched it recently. It's not that good.
I have no hate, but like I said, I mean, whatever. I think this movie falls under that
It's
line.
similar vibes.
I think you definitely would have to watch it, and I think it's fair to score it low, but you definitely have to watch it.
All right. Thanks for watching. Remember, hit the bell, subscribe and hit the bell so you can get all the videos. Comment down below, and yeah.
Fucking subscribe, do all that shit.
Yeah.
Fucking come back again.
All right.
Fucking comment if you want me to come back.
Yes, please let us know if you want more Kung Fu reviews.
Or if you want less of me, whatever. Fuck it.
Nah. Nobody thinks that. All right.